Welcome in. It's Wednesday. How are you doing? How are you doing? It's midweek. What's your midweek check-in? I would love to know. All right. So if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. Let me know where you're coming in from. Every day, Monday through Friday, we do this at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We talk about insulin resistance. We've actually done this, you guys, for like over a year and a half. So hello. If you are in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, the next free 5-day challenge is starting on Monday, the 18th of August, and we'll go Monday through Friday. If you've never joined us for that before, like maybe set something on your phone, maybe just like give yourself a reminder. I know that the group doesn't give notifications. I know that it doesn't let you know that we still exist. I know. It is the challenge sometimes of a FB group. And I probably shouldn't be saying things on TikTok, right? They don't like it when you advertise other platforms. Any hoodle. So get into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Fill out the little form so that you can get in. So we know you're not a bot. All the good things. We'll let you know about like any updates or whatever. I don't spam people. I don't sell lists. It's me. Like, it's me. It's a little old me. I've been asked those questions before, and so I don't blame you at all. Like, right? People are like, I don't want to give you my email. I understand, but it's the only way that I can communicate because you don't get notifications. All right. Anyway. Monday on the 18th through Friday the 22nd, I will go live at 3 p.m. every single day. And what that will help you with is this. Ingredient trade-outs. Like, first of all, what is insulin resistance? What does it look like? Why is your life frustrating? Why are your symptoms not changing? Why is your belly not going down? Blah, 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 blah. I want you to understand the basics of the inside of your body. But then I'm Italian and I had to trade out my food ingredients. And so I want to teach you how to do the same thing because it actually wasn't the hardest thing that I ever did. And that's like, most people are like, you're lying, you liar, but I'm not. It actually was easier than I thought it was. And then I take you into my pantry, my refrigerator. We do a recipe, like we do fun things all week long. Okay, so should you want to take the free challenge, Monday the 18th in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And yes, there are replays. And yes, they will be up in the featured section. And yes, they do get deleted after 30 days because that's just Facebook's new universe. So there you go. Patty, good morning, sweet lady, right back at you. Good morning. All right. So today what I wanted to do is I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going to be gone for a whole week. I won't see you again until next Wednesday. So I'm in Minnesota and I'm going to go for like this premier leadership for our business, my husband and I, in Dallas. And I'm going to do that. We're flying out tomorrow morning, like super early. And then we're going to be in leadership until Sunday. And then I'm going to see my bestest girlfriend ever since I was 4 years old. So she knows all of this journey. When I tell you guys about how we never saw a Dairy Queen, we didn't stop at my Italian daddy, he like had, whatever. He grew tomatoes and peppers and literally that was our whole garden. There was nothing else. He was so proud of his crop. He would have it piled in the garage, and he'd have us take pictures of him by his peppers and tomatoes. She was there for all of it. She knows all of the stuff about me. She knows that we used to like go to, because we didn't always do everything with wisdom. So she was my partner in crime during those years of, you'd go to the store and you'd binge on ice cream and do all those things. She was there. So I get to see her, but I'll be back here on Wednesday next week. So what I wanted to do today was I wanted to like give you something to actually work for in the next 7 days. Okay. And the conversations that I'm having with people in the last, I'd say 2 weeks solid have been, oh, I'm off my plan. I'm off. I haven't summer threw me upside down. And I think we underestimate summer. Tell me in the comments, if you feel like you underestimated summer and like your routine just went in the toilet. I actually think summer, I know I'm going to get crap for this probably, but I think summer is harder than Christmas. Because we think in our heads that Christmas is going to be filled with all of these events. And we do get things on our calendar. There's no question. Maybe there's our favorite candy in the store and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is that summer, we actually are go, 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 do, out of routine. Like we are constantly, it's like, oh, somebody's getting married, and then there's a picnic, and then there's a barbecue, and then there's a family reunion, and then, oh, we just got invited to a bonfire, and then, oh, there's a cookout for the neighborhood, so there's a block party, and then, oh man, that new restaurant just opened up, and we are just feeling the sunshine, and we're feeling excited because it's summer, and this is not just in Minnesota. I know it's not, but we really we hold on to that thought process as long as we can. That free and easy summer live and yoo-hoo. We really do that like big time. Everybody Friday night leaves for the cabin, and every Sunday night, everybody comes back in for work. And this is for months, right? So our routines get so turned upside down. And I want you to not have shame around this, okay? I want you to be able to just assess and move forward. So last weekend, what we did, I kind of prepped you a little bit last weekend. On Friday, I had you take just a couple of days so that you could practice a few things, put a few things into place so that maybe your jeans could zip up on Monday. Because I think we hit the weekend and we're like, all right, well, I was hard, I was good all week. And then we whatever, jump off the deep end, or we just allow a little too much room in our plans. So there you go. Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you. Good to see you. So I already know this is the conversation in your head because this is what I've been talking to you about. This has been it. So let's dive into some content. And if you need anything, let me know. Even while I'm gone, do not stop texting me. I'm a titch behind on some of my DMs right now. Really working with a lot of people over the last couple of days, getting set up on their new journey and helping them to move forward. And so when I slow down to take care of you individually like that, that is where my heart is. And so I don't ever want to compromise that for you. And, but then I do get a little bit behind. It's okay. I always get caught up. I always do. But let's see here. Oh, and the glucose health is back in stock. If you have not heard me tell you that, there'll be a text going out today. It's back in stock. You guys are like purchasing a lot because it's kind of like nature's O, if you know what I mean. And it's like $26. So it's in high demand. Okay, so everybody else is like back to school, back to school, back to school. And you may not have children at home anymore, or maybe you do, or maybe you're watching your grandkids go back to school, etc. But it needs to be back to you. It needs to be back to you time. As we start to settle in, we hit Labor Day and then everything shifts. And that's coming up very, very soon. And so that actually sometimes can feel like a little bit of a relief on us. Like, whoo, maybe we're going to get back into a season. Maybe, maybe for you, I don't even know. Maybe you watch football and you just feel the season, that you can settle back into, or whatever it is for you. But I know that in Minnesota, we definitely feel the fall weather kind of coming in and rotating out a little bit. So September feels a certain way. So everybody else kind of goes back to school. Literally the traffic patterns in the city change because everybody's got, taking their kids places, etc. We have to kind of hunker down again. But it's a good time to reset what summer knocked out of balance. Okay. So again, no shame. Remember this. Okay. Remember this, put no shame in the comments. We just move forward. We just go forward. Just go forward. Okay. So, oops, hold on. I want to find my right spot to start. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's time for your own reset. So maybe you feel like summer flew by and you don't feel very good mentally, emotionally, physically, because you just did too much celebrating and having fun. Maybe you told yourself you were going to stay on track. This summer, I'm going to stay on track. It doesn't matter if I'm on my 4th trip. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for my 4th trip this summer. So I understand being out of routine. Like, I get this. This is like my wheelhouse right now. So you were going to stay on track, but you just got too busy and you just kind of threw stuff to the wind a little bit. Maybe you've been off your routine. Your digestion is off, which then means that you're probably tired. Maybe you're mentally foggy a little bit. and you're like, I can't even think clearly enough to change things back again. How am I going to do this? And maybe you've gained some puff. Are you puffy? Like puffy in your face? Your jeans are a little tighter. You're just, maybe your back fat is a little bit more pronounced. You know what I mean? Maybe you feel like you kind of lost yourself in the shuffle of it all. I just had a phone consult with a new customer who she's in the middle of moving. Moving is tough, right? And she is going to be helping out a dementia parent. Woo! Ask me about that journey, right? 5 years, my sister and I took care of my mom who had dementia. She died at 94, and she died 2.5 years ago now. But it was right during the pandemic. And so we took her out of facilities. We brought her into our homes. We did all the things. And you know what? Dementia is hard. So maybe you have a harder season right now. Okay. So things can get like upside down. And I understand that really, really well. I understand the emotional eating. I understand the stress eating. I get it. Okay. We'll touch on that today. So during summer, people are like vacationing, road tripping, late nights. You're eating more. You're cooking less. You're eating more out. You have less structure. You're more kind of like, whatever, I'll start again in the fall type of an attitude. You might have disrupted sleep, disrupted hydration, digestion. I mean, like things just get off, right? You're not lazy. Stop thinking that you're lazy. Stop thinking that you're just a summer loser. Like, let's start there first in your head, okay? Summer just shifts everything, and it does it for everybody. And I like I said at the beginning, I actually feel like it's worse than the Christmas season because it actually is every single weekend. It actually is like constant, as opposed to, Christmas is more condensed. And so we just feel like, but it's only 6 weeks. Summer's long, right? So this season naturally brings back rhythm when you get back into fall. You don't need to have a New Year's resolution. You can actually reset in September. And I will tell you that became one of my success hacks. I never waited for January to reset. I always use, now that's probably because it started to come naturally to me because my business fiscal year starts in September. So I started to use September as my reset. And it served me really, really well. Because then when I hit January, when everybody else was hitting January, like they were busting through a brick wall because they had just let it go from summer into fall pumpkin spice latte season into Christmas and all of everything. And they hit January and they're just dragging on the floor. I started in September. And even if I kind of went in and out a little bit over like the holiday season, I kind of still had it reined in at least a little bit. Because even if you rein yourself in 10%, it's better than nothing, right? And it took me about 3 to 4 years to figure out my food, but then it also took me about 3 to 4 Christmas seasons to really nail Christmas. I love teaching that, in the group. Like I said, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. That's where I can share all of my, I can go deeper. I can share my secrets. I can share all those things. But I love talking about that Christmas mindset in there with you guys. Because that is those tips that I give about the Christmas season. Those are the things that I just started to do like as a default. And now it really has taught me some of those success principles, but you can have a fresh start. So you don't have to wait for a New Year's resolution. So, you might wonder what happened this summer, and I'm just here to tell you, let's just figure it out. So here are some things that you can actually do that are very, very, they're very basic and there's nothing crazy. You can do them without me. You do not need me to reset. I am not your answer. I am your help for acceleration. I am your help for you understand the concept of taking your car to the mechanic. I can do that. But here are some things that you can do just on your own. Let's make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Patty says her sister is going to contact me. That's wonderful, Patty. What's her first name? I will look for that. Thank you, Patty. You're just such a great example of winning right now. And I love it. It's all of the testimonies that keep me going for sure. So your fall reset formula, are you ready? It's probably nothing probably nothing earth shattering. The first thing, and I talk about it a lot, is we have to focus on protein, and you have to focus on protein before noon. And I only say that if you're intermittent fasting and it's working for you, like don't fix something that's not broken. Don't take general counsel over something that's working for you right now. Don't break what's working. Okay, just hear me on that. However, if you're somebody who you're like, oh, geez, my mornings, man, I'm like, I used to not eat grab, all of the bad things at the coffee shop. And I used to not whatever. And then I kind of this summer got me back again. And I started ordering, whatever, a sugary drink, or I started to like, I know my cortisol has been high. And even though my cortisol has been high, I'm still like waking up and drinking straight coffee in the morning, black coffee. And it makes my tummy not feel great. But I've been letting things slide like that this summer. Those are the types of things that you need to shift back, right? Or maybe your husband said, I'm tired of not having cereal in the house or bagels, and I want you to buy them again. And you went, oh, and that's just your thing. I'm telling you, I grew up on cereal. Cereal was like, who didn't want their mouth to hurt from, the Captain Crunch? Like, it was like eating pie. I don't mean the feeling of it, but it's all sugar, right? So I grew up on all of that. In the back of the cereal boxes, you could cut out the little 45 record of the Partridge Family. Come on, the monkeys. Like I grew up I'm a child of all of that marketing. So I get it, right? And so we slide back and forth. This is what you can focus on. 30 grams minimum of protein before noon. Okay. Number one reason, stabilize your blood sugar. I'll tell you what it looks like exactly here in just a second. Stabilize your blood sugar. Feel full. Feel satiated. Don't eat something that your energy is going to crash at 10 a.m. and you're going to grab a Snicker bar. Don't do that. Eat straight protein. I know that some of you are running to work. I get it. Then at least take the time to have an egg bake in your refrigerator so you can take out a square and eat it. Do something like that, or have hard-boiled eggs available for you. On my site, and I was going to write it down, and I didn't write it down. My site is my first last name.com. I'm going to write it down, but you know what I'm not going to know? I'm not going to know if this is backwards for you. So you're going to have to tell me. My first last name.com. Is that backwards for you? I don't know if that's backwards. Her name is Barbara. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. So if you go there, and I'm going to show you what it looks like here in 2 seconds. And if that's backwards, I'm sorry. I should write it the other way. Anyway, when you go there, you'll see my before and after. I just switched it out. But right here, there's a free protein blueprint right here. Top button, free. And what is that going to get you? That is actually the protein formula, so that if you are in weight loss mode and you want to lose weight, because not everybody is, you don't have to be overweight to be insulin resistant. You can be skinny and be insulin resistant and need to fix your liver and your gut. Okay. So it'll teach you the protein formula so that you can choose proteins that, number one, don't spike your sugars. And number two, they are lean instead of being fat forward. So fat forward would maybe be bacon, lean would be chicken sausage. Okay. But we're going to choose proteins that do not spike your sugars, because if you're on my content, you're insulin resistant and you have to stop the cycle. So pretty much everybody else's plan or opinions, they're for somebody else's body. They're not for an insulin resistant body. So every time you see a marketed buy our program, it probably wasn't made for people who are insulin resistant. So you might lose weight on the front end because you're stopping maybe some pretty bad habits, but then it stalls or you gain it back because it was never meant for somebody who is insulin resistant. Okay, I'm just going to digress from that. I'm just going to stop with that one. So the top button is the free protein blueprint. Okay. And that then that'll give you a graph of some of the proteins and how much protein they have. How much protein should you have? Like try to hit your your goal weight in grams every single day. But I am telling you, if you've never had that feeling of balance, if you've never had that feeling of stability, and it can even be not just inside of your mind, because like your brain fog then isn't there, but inside of your emotions, like as a female, if you've never felt that stability and what that's like, I can tell you that that can come from having stable blood sugars, and stable blood sugars come from having proteins that don't spike your sugar. So when I teach food, I teach no grain, sugar, or legume, but I'm still a foodie. And that's why I love to teach the challenge every month inside of the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. That's on here too, by the way. At the way, way bottom, right there, there's a Facebook. I'm going to click on it because I fixed it. Yep. Shows, oh, come on. Right now it has a yellow banner. Every month we trade out the yellow banner. And the reason why we do that is because, oh, never mind. It wanted to confirm my account, and I don't want to do that right now because every month we do another challenge. So I just redo the banner. Oy vey. Oy vey. Here we go. We're just back. We're back. So at the very bottom, it does take you. There's FB, IG, YT, message me, messenger, phone, yada, yada. Okay. So get your protein figured out. And I know that that can feel maybe sometimes confusing, but for those of you that are actually figuring out, Patty, do you feel like you have a handle on your protein now? Do you feel like you have kind of switched over from confusion about protein to actual help with protein? Where do you feel like you lie in that? So I would love to know. Am I missing stuff? You are. Okay. I would love to know. Okay, I'm going to go on to number 2. Good to see you guys. Thanks for jumping in, TikTok. Tickety talk. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So number 2, do something that has movement to it. And trust me, ask me if I've ever been an athlete. I probably could have been, but I quit everything that I started. So like I was, I was a really good server in volleyball in high school. We went to state, we didn't win. I was really good, but I didn't like my coach. So I wasn't very mentally tough, and I was like, forget it, I quit. I was first chair clarinet in band, and I quit because I didn't like the the teacher, the band instructor. Silly things like that. That was where my self-sabotage came in. Yours may look different. So I never really became an athlete. I never became somebody who enjoyed exercise. I never thought that I just loved whatever. And I kind of rewrote my narrative over the last maybe 8 years. I decided that I wanted to be, because my babies weren't born yet. My grandbabies weren't born. Now they are 4, 2, and 1. Almost 4, 3, and 1. But anyway, and I decided they weren't here yet. And I thought, I just know that as a Nona, as a grandma, I'm going to want to be a functioning grandma. I'm going to want to be able to like keep up with them and have energy. And I'm going to want to get on the floor with them and all of the things that I was going to want to do. And so I started to not hate exercise. And I decided that I was going to be somebody that started to move. So it kind of has taken me a while because it really hasn't been my default. I'm just being super transparent with you. Some people love the gym. Some people love whatever. It's just whatever. So we kind of went in and out of having like a Planet Fitness membership, etc. There have been other things that I've been like, instead of saying no to walk, yes, instead of whatever, I just became more and more whatever. Then my babies were born, and like even now I'm more motivated, right? So I want to make sure that I have like function. And so I get up in the mornings, and it's not every morning, but I do get up in the mornings a good 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, and I walk. I walk and walk and walk. And maybe I walk about a half an hour, 45 minutes, depending upon what's allowed for me. And I want to get outside. It's Minnesota. And so I want to get outside. But this is why you want to move your body. Don't think to yourself, I'm going to move my body so that I can lose 10 pounds this month. Got to get rid of that mindset. That's a very, very old mindset. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just saying, like, if you require that result for you to stay walking, then you may not. When you only lose 3 pounds or you don't lose any weight, you might think, well, screw that. That doesn't work. Well, change the reason why you're doing it. Your lymphatic system, remember going back to, do you feel super puffy at the end of summer now? Your lymphatic system that needs to drain and do all of the things, you've got lymph nodes under your arms and, up here, and you've got lymph nodes all over, and your body needs to like detox. And this is why I talk about liver, gut, liver, gut, liver, gut, liver, gut, because if you can begin to get your body to move impacted waste, you can get your toxins flowing, you can, like wash out your face, do whatever to get all of that lymphatic stuff moving. You're going to have a really hard time releasing any fat at all. And you're going to be very frustrated. So your lymphatic system will not move without you choosing to move first. It just doesn't. You have to get into motion for it to keep moving. So do it for that reason. Do it because you're like, oy vey, like I have got to stop the puffiness. What if I just start walking for the next 90 days and see if I feel better? Get some sun on your face, move your body, put some tunes in your head, get yourself going and feel a little better. But those are the reasons why you want to be able to like move. And maybe it's only 3 times a week. Perfect. Then do it 3 times a week, right? Some people are doing rebounders. Some people are doing vibration plates. I've been thinking about getting a vibration plate so that I can test it out and then tell you guys what I think about it. Those types of things, they're all great, right? Just get your body moving. And then think about in terms of like simpler meals, earlier dinners, sleep reset, these type of things. Let me give you a couple of examples. I was just giving this to a new customer and talking to her about some of the things that I do to make things easier as you're resetting. And there are two things that I like to make that are, they can serve you and your family well and keep you on a good reset path. How about that? Does that sound like that's something that's interesting? Patty says, oh, definitely. Proteins are so satiating. I get 40 plus for breakfast. Way to go, Patty. And have lunch around 2. That is such a great, great example. So this morning, like for myself, I had 3 eggs. That's 18 grams of protein. And then I had a chicken sausage from Amy Lou. It was an andouille chicken sausage. Maybe that's 13. And sometimes I even add, you're going to think I'm crazy, but sometimes I'll even add a scoop of my my grass-fed whey protein because it's 30 grams of protein, and I can add that on top, and it's sweetened with stevia. When you're on my site, again, that one's right there. It's in under the spotlight. It's right there, and it's sugar-free because it's stevia. Chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla, very clean, 5 ingredients. But I'll even add something like that to boost my protein. But then you just feel like, man, you just feel even balanced. It feels so good. If you do not add in the toast, the hash browns, the pancakes, the cereal, the bagel, the scone, the sugar coffee, oh my gosh, just stop, right? We have to stop. So the 2 meals, I like having things in pans if you are serving people. And she's going to be serving a dementia parent. So it's like, okay, let's think about the keto lasagna and let's think about like an egg bake. So the keto lasagna, the trick for that one, and that came from Maria Emmerich, and that was to go get chicken deli meat sliced on a number 2 at the deli and use that for layering your lasagna instead of lasagna noodles. So, and you don't even notice. It's amazing. So you're still getting all of that good flavor of the ricotta cheese and the mozzarella and the Italian sausage and the sauce. Make sure it's sugar-free. Rouse is a good brand. All of that, because that's really why you're eating lasagna anyway. You're not eating lasagna for that stupid noodle. You're not. It's just there messing you up. So you might as well make it sliced chicken breast. But if you make a pan of that, then you've got squares that maybe you're going to work all day and you're coming home and you need something quick. Or maybe, she was like, I don't want to feel like I have to make different meals for myself and my husband and my elderly mother. Like I want to make sure that I have, like some sort of a streamlined rhythm. That is an excellent thing to have in your fridge week in and week out as a meal prep. The second thing would be an egg bake, because you can take equal amounts of cream cheese ounces and eggs. Like if you take 12 ounces of cream cheese and a dozen eggs and you whip them up in your blender until they are whipped, and then take a pan, like a cake pan or whatever, maybe bigger, because that's 12 and 12 is a lot, but put the bottom, like onions and green peppers and mushrooms, and it can be Italian sausage, it could be crumbled up bacon, whatever you want it to be, and like fill the bottom, whatever, sprinkle it with whatever you want. Pour your blender of goodies on top, and of course, whatever seasonings you want, and then just put it in the oven until it's done, until a fork comes out clean. I don't know how long that would be. Maybe 350 or 400 for, what would that be? Maybe a half an hour. You'll have to test it. I'm just giving you the overall thought process. But then that's another pan that you can have available for you, your family, or like you're trying to avoid stress eating, you're trying to avoid whatever. That's the other one. And then the last two things that I want to talk to you about as we wrap up are this. Number one, and I talked to her about this, you're not going to fix your stress and emotional eating overnight. Stop requiring yourself to not stress eat in order to have movement that goes forward. You have to stop requiring yourself that. I told her, I said, it's not like I stopped emotionally eating, especially when I was taking care of my mom, or stress eating. I changed what I was eating. I changed what it was. But then at the exact same time, over time, I was spending moments assessing. I was allowing myself to recognize without shame what was happening. Like, whatever, it's okay. And now I just do less of it and less of it and less of it. And it's a journey, and you have to give yourself permission for the journey. Okay. And then the very last thing that I want to talk about is actually the supplementation. How do you break the addiction? Sue, that is a good question. So there are two things that I did. I learned how to focus on protein, like I was just talking about, and I used a carb blocker. I don't even know if I have that on my site. I'm just going to check quickly because I'm surprised that I don't have that on my site front and center. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Oh my gosh, I'm so silly. So this is my site, and I think this is backwards, and I'm sorry. It's my first last name.com. I need to write it backwards. I need to write it the other way. But when you go there, you'll see my picture. And the story isn't that I lost 3 sizes in my 50s. The real story is that I've kept it off, and I'm still going in the exact same direction I want to go in. Because this isn't about a Band-Aid. It's about teaching you how to get your body to function. It's like a mechanic teaching you how to detail your own car. So, okay, free protein blueprint. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. There's a little video here explaining the foundation of where I started the trio. But right under here, that's the carb blocker that I took. So for 3 to 4 years, I had carb blocker in my pocket. So much so that I would take out my winter coats in October, living in Minnesota, and there would be carb blocker in my pockets from last March, April, or May. March is a joke. Probably May. We were probably heating through May. I'm always an optimist, thinking we're going to be able to get spring sooner. Anyway, and it blocks up to 500 calories of carbs when you go to eat. And it's just natural. I literally have started this over 10 years ago. Same one, same brand, same everything. I'm still actually, I don't use it anymore. Sometimes I have it in here. I can show it to you because I do keep, this is, I don't even know how, I don't even want to say it, but these are probably really old. But I'm sure they still work. I don't know. But I keep them here just to show you what they look like. Okay. So you take 1, 2, or 3 of them. I just don't use them anymore. But it did take me 3 to 4 years to really transition my foods. And I wanted those in my pocket because I needed to not be moved by a social engagement or by a food pusher, etc. And I also didn't want to shame myself if I was craving something like you're talking about. How did you break that addiction? Because it is an addiction, right? So I used that as a tool, but I will tell you that probably one of the best things that I did that I didn't know I was doing when it comes to supplementation, since we're going to talk about that here, was the glucose product. And it's the one that was out of stock for the last 60 days, and it just came back into stock yesterday. So because it's filling in raw materials that your body needs with trace minerals and then also a couple of herbs, it's kind of like a little natural O. And I say that because if the side effects of taking O is your cravings for sugar go down, check. Your appetite goes down, check. Your blood glucose levels go down, check. Your hormone insulin that creates high inflammation comes down, check. And the result of that is you feel more in control of your cravings and your appetite. And it gives your brain time to process something different. Because again, you're not going to fix the trigger overnight, most likely, but you can fix the ability to have space between the trigger and what you're choosing. So a good example would be, let's pretend, let's see, trying to think of what somebody would grab. Let's say somebody's going to grab granola bars. Like you already know granola bar, this one that you buy, you love keeping it in your purse. And maybe that's a boring analogy, but I'm going to go with it. You already know it's like filled with sugar, or you like a candy bar or something like that. And this is maybe one of your go-tos. And because at 2 p.m. you're crashing and you just need something sweet after lunch, or I don't know. But you need time in your brain to have space to go, oh, I remember her talking about this homemade keto granola that was amazing. I remember her talking about those Lily chocolate bars. You just need a moment. You don't even need that much ability to figure it out. You just need enough to go, oh, I could go grab some, I could go buy that, or I could go make that, or I could look up this recipe. All day I dream about food. That's a really good blog for food trade outs. You just need time. You need to buy yourself a moment and an ability to make those decisions. So that's kind of how I did it. Oops, I keep that up there. I shouldn't have kept that up there that long. Maybe Patty says that it is not backwards. Thank you, Patty. Patty, the other Patty, good to see you. Yes, watch the replay. And then she says, I use carb blockers till I can get better. It's just a tool. It's a tool and it's natural. Anyway, so that's kind of what I do. So when it comes to then supplementation, when I talk to you guys about this, I just want you to know, you can customize according to what you want to do. Some people just want to get their foot in the door and they just want to start something. So I just want you to know it's actually very simplistic, but you just have to tell me, you have to get into my inbox and tell me what it is that you want. Okay, tell me what it is that you want. I'll customize a cart for you. I was spending yesterday customizing carts for people. Perfect. Because you want to own your decision. You want to know that you're not just doing what you think everybody else is doing. Let's make this for you. You guys have amazing stories on what's going on in your life. Everybody's different. Some people are like, yeah, I want to do that, but I also need help with sleep. Yeah, I want to do that, but I also need help with cortisol. Yeah, I need to, right? Because you're all different. So anyway, so when it comes to supplementation, I targeted my own supplementation. I started a little over 10 years ago. Everything that I do has a purpose and a function. Otherwise, I'm not interested because I just don't have time. I don't have time to think about just taking something just to take it. I was never a supplementer. Why would I do that? I'm not going to do it. So the trio are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And on my site, that's not backwards, Patty says. It's like at the top, it says where I started. And then there's even a little video. But this is the one that was out of stock forever. Oh, it's back, it's back, it's back. So you can just go get all 3. And Canada, your link is there too for you, okay? But it helps insulin, sugars, sugar cravings, appetite, liver, metabolism. Okay. And these three, this is what helped support me to lose 3 sizes in my 50s while I was figuring out my food, while I was having to figure out my own journey. Okay. And the reason you want to know why, so that you'll be consistent. If your liver is sluggish, you will not burn fat. And if your insulin is high, you won't burn fat. Everybody focuses on your blood sugars. And yes, this helps with that too, but insulin is the fat storing hormone. Okay. And then the second piece of that is the gut primer. This is the one that has the 6 blends inside of it, and it's a powder. And you put it in a little bit of cold water in the morning. I take it like a wellness shot. I do not put it in a lot of water. I put it in a little water, and I literally take it like a shot. I froth it up with my frother with this thing. Already did mine for this morning. And this is really where you can make a intense impact inside of your body, because you can imagine that if you can support the healing and the sealing of your gut, if you've lost your gallbladder, constipation, indigestion, all of those things, insulin resistance creates leaky gut. And when you're losing those nutrients and you need to get those raw materials back into your body for them to work, this is like a primary way that you can accomplish that. And then, like, I will not travel tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. when I go to my son's picking us up at 5 to take us to the airport. This will be in my luggage. I'm not stupid. I will not travel without it. I'm just saying. I had a lady who, she might get on here too. She wouldn't evacuate for the hurricane last fall without it. I don't blame her. And then this is a probiotic, 5 strains that are alive. Put it on your tongue every single day. It's a powder, and this is recalibrating your gut. So some people do the trio and the gut reset protocol. Some people do the trio, the gut reset protocol, and the fat burner. Okay. And this is what Patty's been on. What is that called? Brigitte, tell me what you're mentioning. I'll show you where to find it. Where did I put my thing here? I'm going to show you where to find it right here. The fat burner. So what this is this is an orange pixie stick. It's tastes like candy, but it targets your visceral fat. And the reason why that is so dang important, you just put it on your tongue. I'm actually on my break right now because we do 90 days on and 30 days off because it's a thermogenic. Okay. So you don't want your body to get used to it. You have ADHD and ADD on top of healing from a 15-year marriage to a narcissist. What do you recommend? Well, Michelle, thank you for sharing that, by the way. I'm sorry. Yeah. I've also had connections like that with family. Anyway, I'm going to assume, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, that your gut is not super maybe happy. Like you need to recalibrate your gut, and maybe your cortisol is high or was high, potentially because you're in fight or flight a lot. So then I go back to, all right, let's start with your gut, right? Let's start with your gut, because this is actually liver health. So your gut, your GI system is from your mouth to the exit. It's all of it, right? But the lining gets inflamed. The lining becomes weak. The lining starts to leak, things like that. And we have to begin to support the healing and the sealing of that, right? But it's also major health for your liver at the same time. And your liver is working overtime. Your liver is trying so freaking hard to help you dump excess cortisol, to help you balance your hormones like insulin and GLP-1 and all of those things. Like your liver is like the workhorse organ. So when I say the trio has help for the liver, yes. The gut primer helps with liver. Yes. The orange pixie stick helps with liver. Yes. Because you want very much for your systems to finally function. It's very much like going to a mechanic and saying, I have a car. I've driven it for 100,000 miles and I've never changed the oil. They would not be happy with you, but there would be things that they would have to do to get your systems back up and running again. You think you have cortisol belly. I know. You're not alone. Cortisol belly is very common. You have not been out of the house in a year and a half. So Michelle, I'd be more than happy to talk to you behind the scenes if you want to reach out to me, and that's your choice, of course. I'd be more than happy to help you. I don't know if you're a supplementer. I don't know what kind of diet you're eating. I don't know. I don't need to know details of people's lives, but this is just kind of what I do. I chat with people. You also have belly fat. Do you have high sugars at all? Do you know? And a lot of people don't even know that they're insulin resistant because they don't have fasting insulin tests being taken by the doctor. The doctors don't do that. Did you take all of this? Such a good question. Did you take all of these to lose weight, and do you take them all now? I take them all now. No, I didn't, because they didn't exist. This existed and still exists, the trio. This is where I started a little over 10 years ago. Not understanding that when I had high insulin, I could not burn a fat pound. When I had a sluggish liver, I could not burn a pound of fat. I said it the opposite. You know what I mean? I had no idea. This was me throwing spaghetti at the wall, going, okay, yeah, I'll just try stuff and see what happens, because I was not a supplementer. My idea of supplementation was taking Metabolife. Whoopsie, I just dropped one. My husband laughs at me. And taking ibuprofen. And so that's really mainly what I lost my sizes with. That's why taking just the trio alone, great, because you don't even know you have insulin resistance. You don't even know you have high insulin. My high insulin was around for years and decades before I actually did anything, even though my dad died when I was 30, type 2 diabetes, even though I was gestational diabetic with my first baby, even though I am Italian and my entire Italian family is obese and has type 2 diabetes, even though I had frozen shoulder at 50, and that's a huge sign of insulin resistance, even though blah, 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 20, 30 years of being insulin resistant before I finally did anything about it. So bringing down your insulin, this is such a key component, but most people never talk about it or address it, especially the medical community. They only wait until your sugars are high and they deal with your sugar levels in your blood. And then they do it with scripts. So the answer is no, I did not take all of this to lose my 3 sizes. I started with the trio. And even when you look on my site, it's why I say where I started. I don't think you can see that. The trio, where I started, right there. And then there's a button for it, and there's a video there. There's everything there. Last year in August, they launched this. Actually, they meaning the sports nutrition line. And I was very skeptical. It was talking about changing your BMI, talking about changing your body composition. And I'm like, I've tried things in the past. I didn't really even know what that meant. Like, I don't know. There was hydroxycut on the market, and there was all sorts of things, like I said, Metabolife, and that's not this at all, but I just didn't have a grid for it really. And, Brigitte, begin. Okay. And so I start this, and I don't tell anybody about it. I was talking about this yesterday. I don't tell anybody about it, but I start it, and I'm like, I'm 2 weeks in, every day on my tongue. And my husband's doing the same thing because we're going to test it at the same time. And he goes, I think I'm noticing like my love handles are kind of whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said something. I said, because I didn't know if it was like in my head. He goes, no, I don't think it's in our heads. I said, okay. So then I get around the business team, and other people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, I can feel my body composition. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I can't recommend this to my people if it spikes sugars. I can't do that. And so I sent it off to a friend of mine in New York. And like, you guys are my friends, right? I hope you understand that that's how this works. My strangers, all you strangers, you become my friends. And so she's a stranger friend in New York. She's been a customer for a long time now. And I sent it off to her and she tested her blood sugars and she's like, I would totally take this. Well, she went on to do a 90-day round of it, and she lost 3.5 inches underneath her bust. I think it was 2.5 inches off her waist. I sometimes get my testimonies mixed up because I've got so many. And then I think she either lost 1 or 2 inches then off her hips. So I'm like, okay. Then I started mailing out measuring tapes to people. I'm like, you need to measure when you buy this. Because I was like, oh my gosh, you got to measure. So I've done now maybe 3 different rounds. I've so changed my body composition. People's visceral fat goes down because it's meant to target the visceral fat. So when you get body scans, like their visceral fat is going down, they're losing inches. This got launched last August. This was launched in October. I think it was October. So this was not available either. This is such a cutting edge conversation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because everybody has a greens drink. Everybody has something like that. We do too. I have a greens drink. It's sweetened with stevia. It's organic. It's all amazing. My husband likes to actually purchase that and this and mix them together. That's his thing. He loves that. But a gut primer is completely different. And so what happens with the gut primer is it just takes your body to a whole different level of being able to hold on to nutrition, which is needed in order to actually move forward with weight loss, fat loss, etc. But I think some of the primary things that people can really relate to is that it starts to move that impacted waste through your body and your bloating goes away. And when your bloating goes away, all of a sudden you're like, okay, wow, I can actually begin to believe for my body to be like ready to like release fat. And that's exactly what happens because your liver is what governs fat loss. It's literally your fat metabolizing organ. So what you guys have access to is way more than I had access to. You guys have such a better opportunity than I did a little over 10 years ago. And so at first I'm like, well, everybody can still just do the trio. No problem. I still take the trio. I took it this morning. And you can totally do that. But most people, not everybody, because I don't want to make it sound dramatic, but most people do grab the total body reset. They grab all of it. And like last year, then, when this all started to get launched at the end of August, my friend in Florida, she was 74 years old. She's already on the trio. She adds in, nope, she doesn't add this in. She just starts with the trio. October comes when there's a launch of the gut primer, and I start telling people about this. She gets on this. Now, this is the end of August, like August 28th of 2024. She's 74 years old. Are you tracking? Okay. Starts with the trio, paying attention to some of her food. She hits October. Launch, talking about she gets these. She adds them to her regimen. January, she texts me and she says, I've lost 45 pounds. And she had texted me before that and she had said, this primer, she's like, I won't live without this. We just evacuated. I can't remember the name of the hurricane. I apologize. We just evacuated to Miami. I took it with me. I wouldn't go because I was on over-the-counter stool softeners or whatever, laxatives, because her constipation was so icky, bad. And she's like, game on. At the same time, I have a customer that has short gut syndrome who is having diarrhea all the time, the complete opposite issue. She's nervous to start. She's like, listen, I've done this for years. game on. Fixes it because you're supporting the healing and the sealing of the gut. So you guys can accelerate way faster than I did. You guys crush my results. You crush them because you're just taking on your entire system. You're like, get to it. Come on, get fixed. That's what you're doing. Oh, Polly, nice to meet you. I will send you a link. I will send you a thing with the trio. I'll send that to you because you can get it from me. So anyway, Julie, Julie's in Athens, Greece, everybody. Bully for you, Julie. Just kidding. I'm so excited for you. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. You keep my dream alive, girl. Michelle, yeah, message me. That'd be great. That'd be great. I will look right away when I get off, okay? I do have a meeting I have to get into right now, though. But I promise you, I will talk to you. So, Brigitte, I will absolutely send it to you. I will. And then if you want to expand that, if you want not just the trio, which are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, if you want to expand that with the gut reset protocol, you can. If you want to expand that with the orange pixie stick, you can. We can customize things for you, okay? But my alarm did go off. I do have to jump into a meeting, so I apologize. Now, I will not be here for a week. I'll be here next Wednesday. I kind of feel like, oh, you guys, I'm going to miss you. But I'm going to head to Dallas tomorrow morning for a premier leadership. My husband and I qualified for a leadership in business, and so we're going to go do that. And then I'm going to see my bestest girlfriend since I was 4 years old. She lives very close. And so I'm just going to be off, but I will not be unavailable. I will be, listen, don't get confused. I will be available. If you need, like today, you just decide, oh, I got to think about this for a few days. I'm just not sure. I don't know. And in 2 days, you're like, okay, that's it. I'm going to ask her for a cart. Ask me for the cart. I'll be checking my messages. I will be servicing people while I'm away. I'm just going to be filling up my, I'll be masterminding with people and filling up my heart and filling up everything. Okay. And filling up my girlfriend, like love tank, and getting to see her kids and all that good stuff. So, but don't hesitate to reach out and ask me for things while I'm gone, because I don't want you to sabotage and I don't want you to lose any momentum. But for the next week, take advantage of anything that we talked about today, those tips about resetting yourself for the fall. Just try to implement a few things. You don't have to implement everything at once, just a little bit at a time. And then be ready on Monday, the 18th of August, inside of the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We'll do the next 27th 5-day challenge that's free. Okay. Okay. All right. Be super blessed, you guys. Have the best day ever on the face of the planet. Brigitte, Polly, I will send you what you need. And Michelle, I look forward to hearing from you. So see you guys later. Have a good day.